Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu-alaikum and a very warm welcome to World This Morning. I am your host Hajra Sati, and joining me is my wonderful co-host who also happens to be a mentor of mine and the face of PTV World, Fahim Bangesh. Assalamu-alaikum, Fahim, and welcome to this show.
Alaikum assalam, and I must say I'm flattered.
Thank you. I think you truly deserve it. And since the weather is completely changed, we can feel the autumn now. And one of the beautiful things about the autumn is that you can see the maple leaves. I really love the maple leaves, chinar ke patte in Urdu, right? And we can see that those leaves, they are given the birth, especially by the nature, in the autumn season. And I think in the spring, they just die down.
Yes, that's true. And you know, I do that every year. I take some pictures in the autumn season. I take some pictures of the same trees in the spring season. And that makes me realize how beautiful nature is. And that we can see all over Pakistan. And not to forget, Hajra, Balochistan is one of the most beautiful provinces that we have in Pakistan. Obviously, the north has its own beauty, but then Balochistan, with its lakes, with its potential tourism, with its mountainous terrain, I think it's a thing that everybody should do is to go and visit Balochistan, be it Quetta, be it Gwadar. Gwadar is, of course, the hub of everything now, as we know it. So definitely something to visit and something to ponder over the next time you visit and you plan on visiting somewhere in Pakistan. And I think people should visit Pakistan before they plan on moving outside and visiting other countries.
That's very true. Thank you for pointing out the beautiful diversity of Pakistan. And when we specifically talk about Balochistan, it is the biggest province of Pakistan, but it's not that densely populated. But I think in the recent years, Balochistan has made huge strides. So our Prime Minister is also from the Balochistan, and lots of progress and work is being done in the Balochistan, namely the CPEC, which is moving through the Balochistan. So you see lots of development that is taking place specifically in Balochistan. And when we talk about the progress, when we talk about the development, when we talk about the progress of the nation, obviously Balochistan does stand out. And we, without further monopolizing our conversation, we want to introduce someone who belongs to that particular province, and she has been making strides there and making sure that the progress and the prosperity of Balochistan is not left out, and contributing her share towards that particular progress and prosperity. So without any further ado, we are very glad that we have been joined by Ms. Arooj Khan. She happens to be an educationist. She also is a social activist, and she is a lecturer at the WTM University in the biotechnology field. Assalamu alaikum, Arooj, and thank you so much for coming to our show. And I think one thing that we need to also add here is that she flew specifically from Quetta to here to just join our program. So we are really glad and we welcome her with all our heart. Thank you so much for coming here, Arooj.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
It's a great pleasure, and I think this is something really big that you've done. And of course, like looking at your profile and going through it, I think that was something really impressive, and I think very inspirational for many. Because when we talk about Balochistan, we think about lack of opportunities, we think about lack of education, we think about so many negative things which have been propagated over time, right? But you, on the other hand, when we see your profile, you've done a lot in the field of education, and on the sidelines of your educational career, you've done other things as well. How is it that you were able to go forward with such ease, or perhaps it was not with ease? We would love it if you would share your experiences living in Balochistan, studying there, and moving forward to this level.
Yeah, thank you so much for your kind words. But you're right. Actually, sometimes you know, when people say that you are lucky because you have achieved this much and you are at a very specific position, then sometimes, you know, I don't like it, because it was not that easy. I have been working so hard, because there are years of, you know, like struggle and what I have been doing and learning from my experiences. So it was not that easy. Yeah, actually there are so many negative things about Balochistan, but I think we like people, me like people, and you know, there are so many other social activists that are in my mind, so that's why I said we like people. So there are me like people who have been struggling so hard, and we have been doing a lot of things. Like and we have to do it. We are living in Pakistan, we are living in Balochistan, we are getting education, we are getting food, and the nationality, and there's so many things that this country is giving us. So what we are giving back to our country or our province. So I thought that it's my core responsibility to deliver my youth or my people and tell the world like what potential Balochistan is having. And it is very important, like you both are so energetic, and this morning is very energetic after seeing you people speaking with a lot of energy. So yeah, it's we all we are the face of Balochistan, or we are the face of Pakistan. It's we, like when people are seeing us, meeting all of us, then they should know that this is Balochistan looks like and this is Pakistan looks like.
Yes.
So
yes,
yeah.
Thank you so much for very succinctly putting it out. And Aruj, we would really like you to share your journey. How did you stumble onto the field of lectureship? And I'm pretty sure, because I was born there in Quetta, and I've been going there in the Quetta, and I've seen that how Quetta has changed and Balochistan has changed. And in the recent years, you will see that there are so many malls that have propped up in the Quetta. And there was a time, so Quetta was the favorite of my mother because she could get a very good shopping from there. It was very cheap, and there were particular blue and maroon sort of decoration pieces that you can buy from there, and that was a speciality of Quetta there.
Because not to forget the dry fruits.
Yes, dry fruits, and fruits were generally very non-expensive, I would say, in Quetta. I really don't know why, but somehow it was a favorite of my mother. So please relate us your journey of your lectureship, and you are doing teaching in the particular field of biotechnology, right? Yes. So and how do you see that at the intersection of unleashing the potential of young people out there? Because I believe that this is the field that generally in Pakistan, it's not a very how do I put it, for the lack of better word, that not that much research is done in this particular field, right? And that too in the Quetta. And how do you see young people interacting in this field?
As the young people say, there is less scope of this particular degree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so biotechnology, actually this is one of the emerging technology, because world is dependent on biotechnology. Like see, we are getting out of water, and there are so many crops who are totally dependent on water. Like if I can give an example of rice. So there is one of the example that my grandmother used to quote, that once you are sowing the seed, then you need water. Sowing rice, then you need water, and for cutting, then you need water, and even for the cooking and even for eating, you need water.
True.
A lot of water like required. But we do not have this much of water. Like if I say that Pakistan is one of those countries who that is seriously because we are
water
getting water scarcity.
Yes,
yes, water stress country, and specifically Quetta. Yes, Quetta Quetta is a very beautiful place, but 2 years back I got one picture. It's a very famous song of Ali Zafar. I don't remember that song right now.
That's fine.
But that was captured in Hanna Lake, yes. And I went there.
Shrinked a lot, Hanna Lake, right?
Yes, actually the fishes were dead, and we were like seeing those fishes dead and totally barren, and I was very shocked, and I was like quiet, like what happened to my land, and what's like going on. So there are so many, climate change is affecting us so bad. Like we didn't have water at all in Quetta, and after some years we get water, and we were happy that okay, there is rain, but that rain converted into floods, and there was a huge disaster that we suffered last year. So biotechnology, why I have to mention this all?
Sure.
I mentioned that all because there are some challenges that we have to cope up. So with biotechnology and this field specifically, we can identify those, we can produce hybrid seeds, and we can identify specific traits, and we can cultivate, and we can increase the productivity of our food, because there is a food shortage. WHO has announced food shortage in 14 districts of Balochistan. So like half of the Balochistan is under is suffering the food security, and Sindh as well. So via this we can I think there is a need that we need to educate our farmers. Like whatever research we are doing, we need to teach or deliver that research to our farmers, that you can use this seed and do not use that specific seed, and just using a particular variety of seeds we can increase our productivity, then why not? So I think whatever research is going on all over the Pakistan, we need to share that research with the farmers, the one who is producing food for us.
Yes.
Because they cannot read the research articles, okay, then I have to read the research article, and they are not going to the labs. So this is and we have to interlink with that. So this is about
Thank you so much for saying it out in research. And I was very amazed, Fahim, because there was this one article that I read and that came into the newspaper, and it talked about that how in particular Gwadar, they are actually growing up climate resilient crops. And they are making sure, because you mentioned and alluded to the fact that Pakistan is a land of paradoxes. Either we are water stressed, or either there's so much water inundation that half of the country or 1/3 of the country would submerge into the water. And you talked about the floods in particular, right? So how do you see this entire situation rolling out, especially when we talk about farmers? Do you think that they are acceptable, or they're more receptive to this idea of the climate resilient crops that you were mentioning about?
Actually, what I felt that I went to field areas and I talked to the farmers. Quetta is very famous for the production of apple, but actually apple is not the native of Quetta. Actually, the people from the English people, they introduced that crop there.
Okay.
We are actually so what is going on, that one apple is consuming 6 liters of water. One apple. I'm talking about one apple, not talking about the whole tree. And then you can see that there are a number of apple on one tree and how much they are consuming in terms of water.
Yes.
So like there is a need that we Quetta is very the environment of Quetta or Balochistan is very conducive for the production of olive and some other countries, but some other trees, some other plants, some other crops. But the farmers, they are not accepting that fact, because I went there and I asked them that the most expensive oil is olive oil. So what do you think, like, if you can convert the food or the tree selection, what if you
can plant the olive oil? Trees,
so he said that it will give me food after or the benefit after 5 years. Still 5 years, what my kids are going to do? What we are going to eat?
I mean, that's a genuine question.
So
that is a genuine concern.
And there are there are so many other emerging technologies like drip irrigation and sprinkling, and there are so many other things, hydroponics, and there are water tanks that we can there's a potential that we can do a lot, but there is a need. Again, I would say that there is a need that we have to take our farmers on board, and we have to convince them. So there should be like subsidies, like we have to provide to our farmers. So because this is not the way that I go there and I said you are not you are not like you have to stop growing apple. I cannot say that. So we have to convince them. And what are we doing? So I think there is a lack. There is a lack of communication between academia and the community and the industry. So we all have to sit together, talk and communicate, like what we can do. Because we are getting out of water. Water table have been reduced.
Yes. Substantially.
Exactly, and we cannot like rely on. I think we should stop. We should stop producing, apple. There's, a very peak season of apple in Quetta. If you want to have some fresh red apples from specifically from Ziyarat, so you have to visit.
And this is a very pertinent point that you raised here, because not many people know that apple consumes so much water, and that too in a province like Balochistan, which is quite arid. Now, also when we talk, it's very heartening to know that people are now more interested in horticulture as compared to the last 2 decades, perhaps. Now, if we talk about the youth of Balochistan, right? You are a lecturer yourself. You work in a university, right? So how is the morale and how is the behavior of the youth as far as biotechnology is concerned and as far as overall education is concerned? Because what is usually propagated, which is now changing, obviously trends are changing now, that people are not really interested in education, but now we see that changing, right? So since you have a direct interaction with the students over there, with the youth in Balochistan, how do you define them and how would you describe them in your own words?
Actually, It's very good to hear that 64% of population, like more than 60% of population of Pakistan is youth. Pakistan is the second youngest country. It's very good to hear that like we are young people. We are doing like it's good to hear. But we have to utilize the potential of young people. About 4 million young people are entering annually in. They actually they want jobs or they want something to earn. But we have only 1 million jobs and less than even that. So how to accommodate them? I think this is one of the things that why our youth is getting depressed, and because I have been reading Pakistan Human Development Index report, and they were like there was an indicator, or they were like checking it out, like which proportion, or like which portion of our whole population is depressed. So I was shocked to see that it was like the bulge of youth who they are depressed because of so many reasons. Because we can see our economic crisis, and then we have to there are a lot of challenges. Youth actually they want to get involved. They want their voices to be heard.
That's true.
Like they want policymakers to hear them, and just to keep in mind what they want and what is required by young people, and then they can make policies according to their needs, and just keeping in the mind that what is the potential of young people.
But also, Ruj, on one hand we do talk about job opportunities, but on the other we do see a growing interest of the youth in entrepreneurship as well. And there are no less opportunities of entrepreneurship. All you require is a brilliant and creative idea.
That's true.
And that's what we require in Pakistan, some out-of-the-box thinking, some critical thinking which should be instilled in the minds of people, since you are a lecturer yourself. And the influence that lecturers have on the students is tremendous. So in your teaching methodology, do you also encourage this sort of behavior?
Of course, I have to, because I have to change their mindset, because we means like we Pakistani people are growing with the mentality that if you want to be successful or want to be happy in life, then you have to get one government job.
Exactly.
So there are like we cannot give government job to everybody. Like there is a number of like 64% of population we cannot accommodate in government jobs. So I have to change their mentality that you are whatever you are studying. Like there are so many microbiologists, there are so many environmentalists, and there are so many biotechnologists, that why you are not doing entrepreneurship. Like you have to you have to do this, because once nobody is doing, then you have to do it.
True.
So it's your yes, it's your responsibility, like you have to do it. So I was like I used to have some get-togethers and sittings with corner meetings with the students, just to know like what they are thinking and like what they actually want, and then I guide them accordingly. Like there are so many funding opportunities for the students, but in Balochistan, because so many students are from the remote areas. Like I'm from Quetta, and I think I'm one of the privileged class sitting in the capital of Balochistan. But even once you go into the remote areas, the students having the potential, because I was having one session in Lisbela University, and the timing of Lisbela University, I think 2:30 p.m. and our session went for like 5:30 p.m. and they were sitting and they were listening, because they wanted to listen. They wanted someone to just go to them and talk to them and aware them about so many different things. So
because there are certain things that people know themselves, but they want to listen to it from somebody else.
Exactly.
To give them the impetus to work further.
Exactly. And I'm actually an environmentalist, and I'm advocating for this climate action that is SDG 13, and I have been working for Sustainable Development Goals since last 3 years. So I have been sharing with my students, like, okay, see, we are always crying like there's flood, there is unexpected rain, because we are living in arid zone, and last time there was monsoon in Quetta that was really shocking, and we were it was unexpected rain and unstoppable rain, and just because of flood, we for 15 days we were living without gas, without water, and without internet connectivity, because everything was gone with the flood. So how to mitigate this, how to counterattack the climate change? So I what I'm focusing right now, and what I want to do further is, solid waste management. And the other thing, I actually want to, utilize the organic waste, and I want to convert that in biogas or biofuel, because that is, environment friendly fuel. You are using fossil fuels, I saw so many people, they are, waiting in the cars and the ACs are on, and like we are,
That's true. That's true. Many of the people.
Though like Pakistan, like I'm not actually, I just want people to be aware, like how our activities or how our, whatever we are doing, how it's affecting the climate. Though Pakistan is in those countries, like greenhouse gas effect, I think you
the carbon footprint is massive, right?
Exactly. But Pakistan's carbon footprint, if you can see, compare it globally, then it's
we are very
less than 1%,
exactly.
as they say.
But if you talk, Pakistan number will be definitely from, if we check the list, then Pakistan number is in the last in greenhouse gas emissions.
Yes.
But if we talk about the sufferings, then Pakistan numbers is on the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think like COP28 is about to held in Dubai this time, but let's see like how this COP is changing, because I can see a hi-fi conferences where
lots of talking points are made, but never translates into action. And I think we need to walk the talk, because that is the need of the hour, and that is coming from.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
You're very right. The talking point, because obviously the meetings of the WHO, they're held in Geneva in Switzerland, and how would they know what the basic health problems of a third world country are?
Right.
So basically, these things have to be. I mean, for example, if you're talking about a third world country, you have to do it in the third world country, so that people, representatives from there should come and they should talk about it very openly and not apologetically. And same goes for climate change.
That's very true, and I think that is why, because Pakistan was very insistent. Last year we experienced the massive floods, and that was the manifestation of the climate change, and we advocated for the reparations that should be given to the third world countries and global south, because obviously the climate change crisis is not of our own creation. That is the creation of the developed world, that because of the industrialization they emitted so much carbon footprint that now the entire world is suffering. And it's not just the global south that is suffering, global north is also suffering. You see wildfires, you see extreme variation in the
this year we've seen a lot of abnormal behavior.
Exactly. And in Pakistan we are witnessing a lot of abnormalities of the weather patterns, right? So I think the summers are getting longer and longer, winters are shrinking, so this is not a normal thing, and that is coming from a very personal tone from someone who is sitting in Balochistan, because she can directly feel the effects of the climate change.
Exactly.
But Aruj, now when we talk about the Balochistan, the unleashing the role of potential or the potential of the youth, let's talk in the gender terms, right? So one of the impression that we have here is that since you are sitting in a Quetta, which is sort of a core area, it's not a periphery, right? So when we talk about women empowerment, what is the situation out there? Because one of the things that comes into the mind, if it's a stereotype, please feel free to break it, that women are not that empowered there. But if you feel that this narrative should be busted and there are lots of things that need to be told out there, please go ahead, we are all ears.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually it's not what should I say, like it's not stereotype for some women's, and for some it is, it is it can be
a general perception, right?
Yeah, exactly. So actually women empowerment, like we are if we can see, the percentage of population, like women, like particular 51% of our population is consists of like women. So it is not possible, like once we are talking about development of any country, how come it is possible to get 100% of development while half of your population is not that, they're not getting the quality education. Like quality education means you have to fulfill the requirement of what 21st century is demanding,
right?
So you have to fulfill those criteria. So you have to fulfill that. There are so many actually it's all about the family support. There are so many fathers right now, they are they're taking their girls to schools and to universities and for higher education. And I have to mention that there are so many girls, there is a number of portion of girls, they are representing Pakistan internationally, because they are very active in sports from Balochistan.
Wonderful.
Like recently 34th National Games held in Balochistan, and I wish that if you people like witness the energy of those girls, like they were running, and they want to just you want to shake the world like we are here, and just to see the energies of those girls.
Felt, right?
Yeah, exactly. They were shouting, and they were running, and the passion I was seeing, and I was actually taking pictures because there was passion and emotion of those girls I have been witnessing. Like they were the energy, the level of energy they were having, and how they were like representing. And I have to mention that in terms of, if I'm talking about the martial arts, there are a number of girls, the percentage of girls from Balochistan was higher as compared to any of the province. So I have to mention that, like if they're talking about, okay, like girls are they're coming forward, they are getting education, and they are like I have to mention like Nargis Hazara, she represented Pakistan internationally, like martial arts. These girls are doing a lot. And then Amlaika Zahid, she's boxer. She's just little girl, and she's having a boycott. In the first look, you cannot judge like either she's a girl or she's like a young boy, because first stage I thought that's a very cute little boxer here, and then later on I came to know, okay, she's a girl. I said, okay, so you are a girl, and the way actually she's not having the style of a girl. Because she's a boxer.
That's wonderful, and I think sometimes we would also like to have a conversation with that, because obviously these stories needs to be told, and PTV World takes this initiative to voice the voices of the young people out there. But thank you so much, Mr. Arooj Khan, for coming here, for having this wonderful conversation.
Absolute pleasure to have you, because obviously there were so many things about Balochistan we did not know, and through you, I mean, the voice of Balochistan has come forward on the national television, and I'm sure that people out there in the government institutions also must be listening to you, and would perhaps facilitate the province of Balochistan in the near future, in the coming days.
Exactly. Thank you
so much for coming here, and with that we will wrap up this segment and go for a short break, and after that we have some interesting conversation lined up, so don't go anywhere. Good morning.
Welcome back to World This Morning with Hajra Sati and Fahim Bangish. We were holding a very interesting discussion before the break, talking about Balochistan, the youth of Balochistan, the problems that Pakistan is facing and the province itself is facing. And right now, we will be talking about a very interesting topic that is about the professionals who are in their professions and how to basically manage them, manage their skills, polish their skills, because obviously the process of growth, the process of change is one thing that is constant, that is always there, and that should never stop. And for that, to discuss that, we have with us in the studios Professor Dr. Engineer Ali Sajid Tamgha Imtiaz. He's a corporate trainer. So, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PTV World.
Thank you very much. Walaikum salam.
Right. So, Dr. Saab, it is said, Fahim, my professor, used to say that language is the biggest setback for the human civilization, because lots of misunderstandings and lots of conflicts are created because of the miscommunication, and because we are unable to convey our feelings, our emotions or our thoughts to other people or other parties because of this development of the language. So, sir, when we talk about interpersonal skills and that too for the professional development, do you think that developing them or honing them is something you can do, or is it a natural thing, innate thing, which people who are born, who are good communicators?
It's a good question. I've been involved and instrumental in training and education since last 30 years or so. I have found only those persons or those professionals rise beyond a certain level, beyond a certain threshold, who have good soft skills, life skills or interpersonal skills. Technical skills takes you for maybe for 1 or 2 steps. Beyond that, maybe it is an entry level requirement, hard skills or technical skills. But if you want to continuously grow and rise, you need to have a set of professional qualities and cluster of habits, attitude, and strong intrinsic motivation, team building skill, leadership skills, decision making skills, and above all, time management skills, and how to cope up with the stress, and how to make out of box thinking, and how to manage your own professional growth. Actually, to me, interpersonal skills are nothing but employability skills. All employers today and tomorrow and yesterday, they wish to have a complete persona of professional commitment and dedication in his team through his young employee, and that is possible only when you have a unique cluster of qualities.
So, sir, like Hajra asked, and basically there are some people who have the innate ability, like Hajra said, right? So, when, for example, you have trained tremendous amounts of people, right? So, in your trainees, have you found just a couple of people who would perhaps go forward in their lives?
Yes.
Or do you find that this training program perhaps is going to help all of them?
There are a certain number of people who have built-in qualities by their nature, who have natural tendency, who has aptitude of strong interpersonal skills. But there are certain level of people, and there are certain organizations in Pakistan like civil services, like defense forces, they groom the personalities, they inculcate the leadership skills, they enhance the communication skills, and also team building skills, and how to manage the people. So core issue is people management skill, and people management skills are normally not available in technical professionals, medical graduates, even social sciences people. They at times lack the people management skill. So core issue is how to manage people.
So, sir, also, when we're talking about core issues and interpersonal skills, we also talk about the personality, right? And personality develops in your formative years. So, is it possible to perhaps change those personality traits in your professional life once you enter it?
Yes, you can add certain number of skill sets or certain level of values or certain level of professional understanding of professional norms. There is no denial to this fact. However, the basic grooming center or epicenter is your home, your mother, your parents, and your schooling. If you get a chance and opportunity to grab those things in the early ages, you can further polish it. However, beyond a certain level, in the early teens, in the late teens, these skills can be acquired, added, or disseminated.
Right. And Fahim, let's bring into the play or into the equation the role of technology or social media, and especially for the people who are introverts, who find it difficult to communicate with their bosses or in the corporate office environment. Do you think social media has made their jobs easy? Because I mean, sitting in the home doing freelancing work, and obviously they don't need that sort of a communication.
They don't need the face-to-face connection that they should be having.
Which can be very intimidating. So, for example, I used to be an introvert, so I find it very intimidating talking to people. But now with the passage of time, since we are in the media, I think that is the need of the hour, that we had a good communication skills. So, sir,
we have acquired it.
Yes,
I believe social media is playing very active role in enhancing the self-confidence, number one.
Right.
Number two, communication skills. And number three, networking opportunities. These three things are the logical byproduct of social media. And YouTube is providing tremendous opportunities for students and young graduates to enhance their employability skills, life skills, soft skills, and interpersonal skills. There are hundreds of thousands of YouTube lectures and training modules available free of cost, both on the Facebook and YouTube. And the young beginners can take a good start from those videos in Urdu, Hindi, English, Punjabi even, and Pashto.
No, but I'm talking in a sense, sir, that how about especially people who are working from home, sitting in the comfort of their home, the zone of their home, and they're working there. They do not have to go and communicate with a lot of people, especially in a corporate sector, in an office environment. So do you think that technology can be a divider in terms of providing them a good interpersonal communication
Yes,
skills?
at times it is also playing a less positive role, if not negative. It is not giving them adequate opportunity to interact people to people. That was the main social contact of
the human
being.
aspect.
Yeah, human aspect
missing.
and the interpersonal aspect is likely to diminish or likely to decrease. However, At the same time, it is providing global opportunity which was otherwise not available to the majority of people in Pakistan, countries like Pakistan. So it has both advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantages, it provided or it reduces the opportunity to interact, learn from the observations, from the interaction, and from the discussion or otherwise debate.
Also, sir, there have been a lot of lectures and a lot of discussion on the topic of emotional intelligence when we talk about it. And that happens to be a key factor when we talk about interpersonal communications and relationships, be it even your home relationships, intimate relationships, or your work relationships. So how do you think that impacts it all? And could you also highlight some important points
You
there?
see, life is nothing but relationship management.
Right.
And if you get a certain level of understanding of relationship management, you are good at home, you are good in the office, you are good in the society, you are good in the university, with your peers, associates, subordinate, and even with your spouse.
Yes.
So I strongly encourage our youth, especially youth, to meaningfully engage in relationship management through proper formal understanding and learning the basic dynamics and basic prerequisite of relationship management,
And
which is not taught in our colleges and universities.
Exactly, I was coming to that.
This is, I recall a famous share of Allama Iqbal in Urdu, then I will translate in English.
Please do.
शिकायत है मुझे खुदावंदान मकतब से, सबक शाही बच्चों को देते हैं खाकबाजी का. So he says that I have a complaint, genuine complaint with colleges and universities that they don't encourage their students to rise and go up and see beyond the certain level, and they wanted them to stay on the floor. So this is very much important for a teacher, for a trainer, or for a mentor to invest on the social skills, life skills, so as to enable them to make them a good professional, a good leader, a good husband, a good wife, a good father, and above all, good teacher and good associate and good peers. It also entails the ethical part. It also entails the networking part. It also entails the fast decision-making part. It also entails the critical thinking. And above all, the emotional sensitivity of human relationship.
Right.
That is a core important.
Right, sir. Since you are a corporate trainer, and I'm pretty sure you have trained lots of people, lots of corporate sector. So, what are some of the common mistakes, or I would say patterns that are repeated when it comes to miscommunication or the interpersonal communication when we are dealing with the professional that you would like to elaborate for us?
You see, we made 4 mistakes in everyday life. First of all, we are not good in selection of words.
Okay.
We do not control the tone. Tone is main cause of conflict. Up till 90% of conflicts.
That is so true.
And third is you don't listen. And above all, you do not
selective listening.
Selective listening. You snub. And you do not give feedback in a proper way. Rather, you use the feedback as a tool to ridicule someone, to scare out your old differences, as opposed to tool for improvement. These 3 or 4 mistakes are very common in our offices, in our homes, in our universities.
And do you see these happening, these patterns in our area, our region, or do you see that in the West as well?
This is more dominant in South Asian culture, where tone is normally dominating, where tone does not entail the element of encouragement, umeed and hope, and these kind of positive aspect of life. Tone is being used to impose your personality or to tell someone that I am superior and you are inferior. That is the wrong perception. That should be reversed, and that is the main cause of societal disappointment, prevailing disappointment in the society, especially
because
in the
then
youth.
Such people also say that this is how I speak, this is a part of my personality, I can't change it.
You see,
you should know what I mean.
You see, if you remove the element of politeness, love, respect and care in your tone, you may not be able to succeed yourself. You're enhancing your enemies. You are not adding value to your colleagues or your friends or your well-wishers.
Right. So now let's talk about something which Fahim alluded to, which was the emotional intelligence and the roles of emotion in the interpersonal communication. And obviously, these are the emotions that are converted into the words, into the conversation, into the language. And a lot of time, emotions are dehumanized, demonized a lot, right? So people say, why are you becoming so sentimental? Or why are you not controlling your emotions? So in a corporate environment, in any office environment, how do you think we can create a safe space for emotions to let them out in a perfect manner, and that can be a better vent? Because obviously emotions are, I would say, not a minefield where we are stepping in and would blast. I would say rather they are our coach, because they are guiding us what our body is saying in the first place. What do you have to say?
You see, the good universities of the world, and even in Pakistan, in certain level of corporate sector, even the government of Pakistan, there's a good change that they have psychological counseling services in the respective department. That is the first positive change I have witnessed in the last 10 or 20 years. That is the first positive change. However, it need to be incorporated into the text, in the syllabus, in the curriculum. At the NUST and the UET, I made mandatory, when I was the department head and chairman, to have industrial psychology and organizational psychology even to the engineers.
Lovely.
And these and even in the engineering council, when I was there as elected member, I also tried to incorporate sociology and psychology as an integral part of engineering education. So these should be made in the part of syllabus in the very first stage, as opposed to only meant for psychologists. Psychological education and emotional sensitivity should be taught at every level, and respect for emotional sensitivity. People commit suicide in the offices because of emotional disturbance.
That's true.
Because of toxic environments,
and because of the mishandling of the situation and not understanding the delicacy and sensitivity of the situation, and disregarding altogether with a stroke of pen or with a stroke of comment.
That's true.
Because you're very right, this happens in toxic environments where people do not communicate. And they always say, if you listen to lectures, if you go through the online articles, they say communication is the key. Communication is the key, but nobody talks about how to communicate. And that's what exactly you're talking about. That's what exactly you're pointing towards, even I think in your trainings as well. How to communicate is basically the key, because it's not everybody's piece of cake to communicate. We take communication to be something we take it for granted.
That's true. That's true.
We sort of take communication for talking.
An innate thing, right? So we're born with communication.
So communication is not uttering a few words randomly and venting out your inner feelings without understanding the consequences or their repercussions or their logical outcomes. Rather, communication should be part of someone's internal strength or external strength to motivate, to intrinsically shake and bake the internal chemistry of person standing in front of you.
True, because I was also reading this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yes.
And the first habit was being proactive, like you just said, that you have to keep the repercussions in mind, you have to keep the end in mind, what is going to be the effect of these particular words. But also, sir, having said that, we also think that some people are there who think that, okay, these words are benign, but some people they're quite sensitive as compared to the others. Those benign words may hurt the other person in a much, much fiercer way than the person can think of. So how do we judge the sensitivity level of a person standing in front of us?
You see, there are a certain number of people who are extra sensitive, and there are a certain level of people in Pakistan or maybe in the world who has more strength to absorb the harshness of the words being uttered by the person standing in front of you, maybe your boss. So I should recommend, especially the bosses, the teachers, the mothers, the fathers, they should take extra care of the human sensitivity of their kids, of their colleagues, their subordinates, and even to their students. The selection of words is most important. Allow me to submit one very famous English statement. Words are energy, use them in your favor. Never utter those words which contain words like disappointment, failure, roadblocks, darkness and difficulty. Eliminate those words from your dictionary. Rather, add those words which causes hope and opportunity and then success and victory. Use these kind of words in your common life. But because when you talk positive words, a ray of hope engulfs the person standing in front of you, thereby raising his or her energy level. So words and energy, use them in your favor.
You're quite right, because there are times when people, especially in this era, when there is a lot of depression involved, people want to listen to positivity, people want to listen to positive words. And I was like talking to our earlier guest, that somewhere in their mind they do have that hope, they do have that word, but that positive reaffirmation from somebody else.
Reinforcement.
Reinforcement, yes.
You see, I can tell you with a reasonable degree of confidence, since last 29 years I'm teaching at NUST, UET and Punjab University and so forth. I have brought numerous students from the depression without understanding the psychology, brought them back into the life, and 2 of them were ready to commit suicide. So words and energy, use them in the societal favor, not your favor.
Right, right. So, sir, let's touch upon one of the important things that I think as a young people, millennials or Generation Z, however they like to label themselves, is the use of social media, the platform of the digital media, and the way they are interacting there, using the words or language there. How important do you think that, and what sort of interaction they need to have with the social media? Because nowadays your social media platforms are your new CV, right? Lots of corporate sector or people who are hiring you, they're actually analyzing how you interact digitally. And if you think that you are stupidly typing something out there, so that can obviously impact your future prospects of getting hired, right? So how do you think they need to interact with these digital public platforms?
You see, I personally believe the use of social media, including Facebook, should be used very intelligently, because it reflects your internal thoughts.
That's true.
And it is a manifestation of your aura, your profile, and your professional understanding of the situation or ground realities. So I strongly encourage the young professionals, be very selective, because you are being monitored not by one but by millions, by international agencies, and you also depict and reflect not only your thought but national cohesive thinking pattern. So we should be very, very selective. Rather, at the moment, we are very pleased that young professionals are supporting the Gaza and, you know, condemning the Israel.
Entire narrative is challenged.
Yet we should not go beyond a certain level.
But then, like you said, choice of words.
Yeah, choice of words and choice of thought process, because it depicts your personality. It's a reflection of your inner thoughts.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for coming here and for sharing your thoughts.
Absolute pleasure having you here.
Welcome.
Absolute pleasure talking to you regarding this very, very pertinent aspect that we tend to ignore, Hajra, because like I said, communication is thought by many people as just talking, but it's way richer than that, way beyond that. And this is something that we have to ponder upon. This is something that we have to think about in the times to come, how we are uttering our words, what is our tone, whether it's going to be harmful. We have to speak about the repercussions, we have to talk about it, and we have to think about it. We have 2 ears and 1 tongue. We have to listen more and talk less.
Right.
Thank you very much
Thank you so much for being on our show, sir. And once again, thank you so much for watching. And I think it is coming from very personal tone when I say, Fahim, mind your English, right? So Allah Hafiz, until next time, it's a goodbye.